G'day. Today I thought I'd talk about why car batteries just don't last long anymore and how to buy the cheapest car batteries ever. Now before I tell you how to buy the cheapest car batteries or bike batteries, I just wanted to give you a quick understanding of how car batteries work. Now there are a couple of different types of batteries on the market. There's lead acid, which is what we're going to be talking about today. There's also AGM or absorbed glass matte or gel batteries. But the principles are all the same. Now I have a lot of batteries laying around. In fact I had about 8 more that I recently gave or traded to a good mate of mine that's an auto-electrician when I got him out for a service call, because I mean that's his business. So rather than the service call, I just traded him the batteries because he collects them and takes them off for scrap. Which leads me into why car batteries are now so expensive. A couple of years ago there was a massive, fairly sudden price hike of the price of lead. And commensurately, of course, the price of lead acid batteries seemed to go up. No surprise there. I have a lot of car batteries laying around because a good while back I used to buy and sell cars for a bit of fun and a little bit of money. And I always used to tend to keep the best battery and put it in my daily driver or whatever it was at the time. Now the enemy of any battery is to just sit unused. Trust me, I know this only too well, which is why I ended up with so many batteries. When car batteries sit unused, in your car or otherwise, they deteriorate quite quickly. So basically inside almost all batteries, car batteries or bike batteries, there are plates made of lead. Now when I bought new batteries, I would tend to buy Caterpillar batteries, as in made by Caterpillar the company, or CAT. And the ones I bought typically had a silver alloy in the plates. I tended to get a lot longer life out of them, and also they tended to be cheaper than most retail outlets. So these Caterpillar batteries typically would cost around $120 to $130 Australian, which was exceptionally good because they're well over $200 for a decent battery now. Now I have a habit of putting bigger batteries in cars and vehicles that they came with standard, and you can do this too if you're willing. Usually you have to modify the mount a little bit, or the battery holder. And the last one I put in my Ford, I had to flatten down the battery holder. Just so long as the battery is securely clamped, that is an absolute thing you have to do. Anyway, once upon a time, car batteries had thicker plates inside them. In the process of the battery's life, these plates get thinner and thinner. Now what they've been doing for quite some time now is putting really, really thin plates, lead plates in there. And of course, their lifespan doesn't last anywhere near as long because eventually the plate's going to get so thin it just won't function anymore. I have been thinking about trying to recondition some of my old batteries, but so far I haven't been able to source where to buy acid, although there are other electrolytes supposedly can use. Anyway, that's for a future video when I ever try that. Now if you do have a battery that's sitting idle in a car that you're not using every week at least, it's a good idea to trickle charge those batteries once in a while. Now I used to occasionally hook up something like this between the poles of the battery when I charge the battery, because that tends to desulfate the plates, giving you a bit longer life. And no, unfortunately this isn't a sponsored video, but this is one of the best chargers I've found. It's a trickle charger. This one's a 5 amp. But it does have the facility on there. It has several different modes. One of the modes has a desulfation cycle in it as well. Some people have even permanently mounted these in situ and just plugged them in once in a while. I've never had a problem with it, but a mate of mine named Doc, who by the way is the best Harley mechanic in Australia, if not the whole of USA, he said he's had a lot of customers over the years that have done this and the battery dies soon after. I haven't encountered that myself. Anyway, the batteries, no matter where I source them from, you're lucky these days apparently to get 3 to 5 years life out of a brand new battery. I had a mate many years ago that had a battery for over 20 years But those were the days they weren't trying to skimp on the lead plates inside the battery, so yeah, they did have them thicker. There's a kind of urban myth too that if you're storing a battery you should store it on a block of wood. That's kind of true in cold areas because cold is also the enemy of a battery's lifetime. But if you live in a hot climate like I do in Queensland, Australia, it's not usually an issue. Anyway, since the price of lead did go up, all of the batteries have gone up in price, and this is the reason for this video. Now, I have mentioned Facebook before, probably not in a really positive light on any occasion, but nevertheless, even though I don't use it all that often, I did discover something. There are quite a few people selling used batteries, or batteries they've purchased that are not the correct size. Now, why they didn't check properly before they purchased it is another story, I don't know. Make sure you do that, even in this case. But having said that, I was able to buy a couple of batteries recently for an incredibly cheap price, for what is a $200 plus battery. One of them the person had for 6 months, never even used it because he purchased it, found it was way too big for his car, physically. So that one I ended up getting, I think, for $20 Australian. Another one that I bought that same week because I needed 2 for the Land Cruiser. I think I paid $50 for that, and it was 6 months old. Again, it wasn't the right battery. Now, of course, with any second-hand goods, there's always going to be an element of risk. So do your due diligence. Look at the pictures on Facebook Marketplace, typically. Have a browse and, take a day or two to check back, see what's new on the market, because they appear and disappear again pretty quickly. Facebook's a little bit hard to negotiate at times, but try and search for car batteries and see what comes up on the list. Look at the pictures really closely. If they don't have a clear enough picture of the details on top of the battery, ask them to send you a picture, because what you're really concerned with is the CCA, that's cold cranking amps, capacity. Never buy a battery that's less than the battery that's in your vehicle as standard. Now, I tend to buy a much bigger capacity battery if I can, but never less, because the battery's the minimum you need. Then do your due diligence, jump on the website of the manufacturer of the battery and check the dimensions of that exact battery. Then compare it to the battery that's in your car and make sure that either A, it will fit straight in, or B, you have enough clearance to mount the battery in your vehicle. Then it's up to you to make arrangements. Now, it never hurts to offer less than the person's asking. That's up to you if you want to do that. Bearing in mind too, there's no guarantee that the battery will be any good. So you're looking for a new looking battery. You don't want to see one with the terminals all torn up from being used for many years. And always check, modern batteries have a little window on top of them. Always check that that's green. Now, it may not be green because it's simply flat. Anyway, look, I've saved a fortune in batteries and I'm going to buy another one soon. So that's a trick not many people would be aware of, but I tell you what, the amount of money you can save by being a little cautious and checking around is phenomenal. If you're the sort of person that likes to always buy a brand new battery, then buy a brand new battery. But if you're a little bit budget conscious and bearing in mind what I just said about getting 3 to 5 years usually per battery, I mean, you're going to pay $200 to $300 every few years. That's up to you. There's nothing wrong with that, you do get a guarantee. But again, so let's say you've bought the battery, you've bought it home. If you have a charger like I just showed you, I recommend you put that on triple charge until it's fully charged. You may even want to run it 1 cycle in the recondition mode if you have that on your charger, like the one I just showed you. This battery in my 350Z I was able to get very cheaply, and you'll see it has different modes. So you have car, recondition, or normally you just have it on car for charging. Always, of course, make sure you connect the charger to the right terminals, red being positive, always. Typically black or blue for negative, but never red, or else you will damage the battery and likely the car as well. So don't do that. And then, all going well, put the battery in your car and use it as per normal. I recommend once a year you put it on charge anyway, even if it's in your car, just to trickle charge it up. It does help the life of the battery by all accounts. I'm always here to help. I never knowingly give bad advice ever. You may have seen my buying and selling cars playlist. I'll put a link up here if you'd like to look at that. So let me know your experiences in the comment section, and if you found this helpful, you know the drill. Please do subscribe, and if you're new to the channel, make sure you also click the little notification bell that you have to do now, and click all so that you'll know the moment any new videos come up. And you can follow me in between videos on Instagram at SteveMacActor. Cheers, and thanks once again for joining me. See you soon.